Action! Hello and welcome to a live recording of the Car Podcast with Chris Harris and his little friends. And they are Chris Cooper, Neil Carey and Manish Pandey. Neil Carey. Oh, Neil Clifford. Neil Carey's over there. With Neil Carey, who's not as knowledgeable as Neil Clifford.
We need to tell you about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. You've been replaced.
That's all right. I wish I could be as skillful as him.
Oh, he is skillful. First on the agenda today is best electric window switches. I mean, where'd you go with that? I mean, these are important questions of our time. I'm going to start with you, Chris Cooper.
It's the important question of our time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Electric windows. I kind of almost think it's first love. Electric windows, for people of my youth, we didn't always have electric windows in cars, did we?
Never had them.
So the first one, I've kind of got a soft spot for the first one. Can you guess what my father's car was with the first? Can you guess what it was? Have a guess what it was.
SD1.
Close. It was
Granada.
Yes, it was a Ford.
It was always a Granada. It's always a Granada.
2.8.
Loaded.
Cologne, not an Essex, Cologne V6.
Mark II.
Mark II, the square one, so not the Sweeney one, with all the sandwiches in the glove box. Yeah. So that is quite hard. It's quite hard to move past your first love, electric window.
Can you describe the switch to me and how it felt?
I can't. Well, I can't because it's lost in the midst of. I can remember trapping somebody's head in it.
What?
Well, because I said, somebody leant into the passenger side and said, it's got electric windows and everything. I said, look, I'll show you. And that was before they would stop. So it was nearly a small decapitation. But I think my favourite one is in the sausage. It's in the sausage. Because the sausage...
That's a Panamera
you
Turbo.
must know what the sausage is.
If you listen to the podcast, he's got a car called the Sausage. He calls it the sausage, but I don't know. It doesn't even look like a sausage.
It does.
I'm very fortunate. It's a Panamera wagon. But the interesting part is that the button has got variable speed. So if you just push it all the way down, the window lowers very quickly. So if we were driving together, which we have recently, and Manish or Neil was walking to the driver's side or the passenger side, I could push it quite hard and it would lower very quickly because it might be an interesting conversation.
Is it infinitely variable?
It's infinitely variable. Yeah, it's my story. It's infinitely variable. So if Neil or Manish were coming to the side of the car, I could lower it very quickly. And they might say, do you know where we're going next, or would you like a sweetie? If Chris was walking towards the car, there's a setting right at the top where the window lowers very, very slowly, and you can stop it where it's just a little bit like that, because you'll be asking, where's the sweeties?
Yeah.
Have you got any money?
Yeah.
Are we lost?
Yeah.
So I think...
But is it just on pressure?
Just on pressure, yeah.
Now this is really embarrassing. Someone's just arrived in a really loud sports car and they're going to be the last person in. So we've got to be kind, all right? Otherwise I'll get sued. So just be really, really kind. So can someone go out? Tom, can you just go and see who it is? Yes. Because I feel really... Do you know who it is? What? How can we set them up? Just go. Lock the door. Lock the door. Lock the door. Absolute disaster, whoever this is. That was loud as well. Sounded like a McLaren to me. Is it a McLaren?
It's an 812 with a silly exhaust.
A what?
812.
Wow.
812, okay. Oh, there we go. Should have bought an F12.
Novatec.
So it's what they call the uglier F12, isn't it, Neil?
Well.
Oh, there's another one here as well. Where's the gentleman? There's another one here as well.
Yeah.
Is he in? Okay. Is he in? Way! Get that man a pork roll and some apple sauce. Yeah, go and get one now.
Yeah.
We'll do a bit of housekeeping. We're talking about electric window switches. You're not missing much. It's absolutely dull as shit. Cooper's talking about his Panamera, and I'm fucking like that. Oh. So infinitely variable electric window speed. I had no idea.
Yeah, it is, and that's why whenever you come to the car,
Yes.
it doesn't feel like it's opening very much.
Yeah. So okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And the switch design is that critically is what I call a hooker, isn't it? So you can hook under to come up.
Under to come up.
and then you push down. Where do you stand on hooking underneath on an electric window switch? Do you do it or not? Oh, he's holding up.
I've got the best switch.
BMW E28 electric window switch.
That
with
is,
two arms.
that is the
Yeah.
number one.
Can you
me.
see that at the back? Yeah.
Yeah. E28, two switches.
Because not only is it gorgeous, particularly when illuminated, isn't it? When it's illuminated. But it's two switches. That's what's lovely
and
about
up and
it.
down.
It's two buttons.
Yeah.
That is my favourite electric window switch, without a doubt. And actually, I never had that car in period. I never had an E30, and I never had, that now is my E28. But I always dreamt of having that car. And actually, you're right. Granada, my mother's, actually, is another story, this. My mother's boyfriend,
Yeah.
that's another podcast.
That is another podcast.
To be clear, not your dad.
Yeah.
Not my dad. No. My dad was not there.
No.
But that was also a Granada Mark II
Yeah.
coupe.
Oh.
So it could be a Mark 1 actually, the coupe.
Might have been Mark 1.
I think
What
Mark-
colour?
Blue, that light
Vinyl
blue.
roof?
No,
No vinyl.
sorry, vinyl roof.
Yeah.
Wind-
With the wind up.
windy
Yeah.
sunroof.
Yeah.
That was the first car I went in with electric windows too.
Yeah.
I saw them in a Renault 16, but I never.
Imagine explaining to your children,
But
one of the days you remember in your life was seeing an electric window switch.
I saw them in a Renault 16 on the way to
didn't
school.
operate them?
But no, I just saw them. But actually to go in the car was that blue 3-litre gear Mark 1, because there was a crossover, wasn't there? There was a console.
There was. Yeah.
But I don't think
we
the
had one of
console
those.
was a coupe.
And the coupe had that different grille on the front.
And the back was that, it almost looks
Yeah.
like a new
Yeah.
Vanquish, actually.
Yeah, that's where they got it from.
Which is probably not complimentary on
Can
the
you
new
knock
Vanquish.
that out? That'll get us sued.
The new Vanquish.
Vanquish like a Ford console.
Granada.
Granada
Mark
gear
1.
coupe.
Sorry.
Two-door, fastback.
But yes, yeah, that was the first electric window switch I pressed. But for me, it's the 80s BMW.
I think they're great, I agree. So I've had an E28 M5 and someone here said you must never sell that car. I don't think I will. And I treasure it and it's in really good condition now, most of it. But it's a bit of it's like painting the fourth bridge. Any old BMW of that era, it needs some attention. And Neil, out of the blue, buys the best one in the UK. So he has got an absolute minter with the extended leather inside, burgundy. It will get stolen.
You've got to remember, that was the second time I bought that car. Because I bought it, sold it to our friend JK, who then promised me that if he ever sells it, it's coming back to me. Then, of course, didn't. Just sold it to anyone. And then it disappeared for 5 years and popped back up at the original dealer, 4-Star Classics. And I'm like,
yeah.
you know that dreaded POA.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck. They've got me, because whatever. But it was lower than I thought, and I bought it back. Yeah.
We love their cars. I like the way they present their cars, 4-Star Classics. But I don't, and I'm not trying to cause trouble here. But the day the car arrived, Neil is, as you probably know on the podcast, a lovely human being, and he's just a kind man who wakes up and wants to shine sunlight into everyone's lives that he meets. But if he buys a car and they deliver it on vapors and there's no fuel in it,
No, but he
was absolutely ticking that day.
you're not buying, from the cheapest place in the world, are you?
No.
You're buying it expecting that there's radio 4 when you press 4
Yep.
on the radio.
Yeah,
Yeah, not like 4
yeah,
and full tank of petrol.
yeah. I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
So to be clear, we love them. We think they'd sell great cars, but the old vapors trick. I
Yeah.
had that the other week with something.
No,
Got in it, it was
we
like-
had words.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had words.
James and I had words.
Manish, favourite electric window switch from your two cars that you've ever owned?
Mr. Cooper on this. I think you never forget the first electric window, but it's not the one I love the most. I remember in the 70s, all back seats had a wind up.
Yeah.
And if you really, really were lucky, somebody had electric front windows.
Yeah.
And mine was a Citroen CX. It was the first time.
Great switch as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful looking.
Bakelite switch with the white. Oh yeah.
So, but there's a philosophical point here as well, isn't there? Is the switch on the door or is it on the console? Because that's the other That's the other.
You mean which is the best place?
Yeah, which is the best place? I mean, do you prefer to do?
I prefer the
this?
middle.
Would you prefer the middle?
Do you?
Yeah.
I think a lot of car makers back, I remember speaking to some people when I first started doing this, and there was a bit of a kudos in the 80s, 70s and 80s to having anything electric on the door panel, because it was more complicated, because you had to feed a wire through a grommet to make it work on the
That's
door.
true.
So the easy cop out was to have it inside the car, but apparently it's a bit, they've got the switch there.
I think
But
it's
on a
because I'm
Citroen, not a-
left-handed.
Is it? You're a southpaw, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like, yeah.
If you're a lefty, I think it
Lefty.
probably is easier, isn't it?
I think I've got a fascination with one particular electric window switch. I'll digress first. I love doing this. The one where you hook underneath is a much more modern thing. It actually is very logical that you hook up to pull and you go down again. But I'm always suspicious of what might be hiding underneath, because that is an ideal area for mung to build up.
Yeah, it is.
Mung can get in there, skin. It's just stuff.
Yeah.
In your car?
But just stuff, and I'm always thinking I don't want to. So
Nose material.
So sometimes, if it's a press car, I won't hook under. I'll try and just get on the edge of that and just lift up like that, rather than getting underneath and getting a bit of pasty
There's
or
something of
something.
the public toilet about that.
There is. It's
How
like
did you
just-
get there?
What
Anyhow.
do you know? How do you open that?
Okay.
There's a little switch whose history I find fascinating. I think it's been used.
560 SEC, by the way.
That's
for
your
me,
favourite?
That's it. That is the absolute. It's got an actual picture of an
Yeah, it is,
window,
yeah.
but then it has an arrow above it. And that you could be the dumbest person in humanity. There's no way you're going to make a mistake.
That's
How does it work?
Oh, that's just terrible.
Sorry.
Can you cut that out, please?
Cheap.
That's just terrible.
a little-
We're trying to get
little
sponsors
rocker.
for this podcast.
Little
Jesus.
rocker, yeah. Little rocker.
So there's a little switch whose history I find fascinating, and that's why I've got
Why are
so
you
few
pointing
friends.
down there?
Because I'm just looking. I'm visualising it.
Little switch.
I'm visualising the switch. So it's a part that was shared by Alfa Romeo or the Fiat Group and Audi. It's that little clicky switch that Audi used in the sort of 80s and early 90s. You remember it? Have you seen it? It doesn't go very far. It's like a solenoid click. And it was in Alfa Romeos as well. So Alfa and Audi shared a switch, which I find totally baffling because they were such different brands. And it's a switch that's still used to this day. Well, actually, it's about to go. It's the height switch on a GT3 carbon bucket seat. Have you been in those? You know that little one?
Yes.
Yes.
That switch.
Yeah.
It's
been in-
asymmetric, isn't it?
yeah, it's got
Yeah.
a lump. It's got a lump, on
lump
one side
and a
then
concave.
and a groove on the other bit. And that switch is been in every GT3 RS that's got a
Yeah.
bucket seat, or GT3, or even Porsche. It's been in most Audis in the late 80s and early 90s, and Alfa Romeos as well, and a lot
I
of Fiat
didn't
Group.
know that.
There you go. But that switch. Do you know the one I mean?
No,
Yeah.
I was just thinking that the Germans and Italians have teamed up before.
They have.
Yeah.
We might need them to do that again.
I'll find you that. Neil, Jesus, man. But electric window switches are a joy, and I think once you get to the really modern stuff, I mean anything that's haptic, I can't get my head around at all with electric window switch.
Haptics, awful.
They're just terrible, aren't they?
Where
Well,
was it on the
Volkswagen-
Purosangue? Where was it? Did the Purosangue?
No, the
have-
Purosangue has the Ferraris have a hook, don't they?
They're
The
hooked,
hook
yeah.
underneath and then on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, next question. We've sort of exhausted electric window switches. People are nodding off. Come on, let's find some decent content for them. Oh, I've lost my agenda now. Here we go. The second one is, this is good,
Yeah.
because we're split on this. Eating in the car is both necessary and good. Discuss. I'm going straight to Neil Carey here, Neil Clifford, because he's got very strong views on this.
2 Neils is an error.
I know,
today.
it is, yeah.
I think it's emergencies only.
Really?
Yeah, I do not like it. I do not like it. I think unless you're in a rush, you stop, you go to the service station, you buy your sandwich or you buy your whatever, and you eat it there, and then you get back in the car. And I think the only acceptable thing in a car is a bottle of water.
What?
But
White puritanic.
my lovely wife is here, bless her, and she does.
She's shaking her head.
She is prone for a digestive in the car, which
Oh.
is
That's the
Oh, Emma. How could you?
Which is the most dangerous, incendiary, explosive bit of food that you can never get those crumbs out on the digestive.
I'm
You know,
going
in
to
the
be haunted
middle,
now.
you know, in the little cup holders, there's all the little bits of digestive that you've got to like stick your finger in and get them out. And I think the other problem with eating in this is a bit more sort of philosophical and deep, is there's nothing healthy in petrol stations. And I have history of being fatter than I am now.
He's given it to me.
And I gave you my 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And
20.
the problem is with those service stations, it's so tempting, isn't it, to get the Haribo, to get the fruit pastels, to pretend that the fruit gums are healthy because it says, you know, only made with real fruit on the side.
Yeah.
But it's also dangerous a bit, isn't it? You know, let alone the Ginsters and, you know, I don't know, those pepperami. It's really, it's you've got to be really careful because you can suddenly do 10,000 miles equals 10 kilos.
Yeah.
It can be very quickly, can't it? So I think bottle of water, M&S fruit, I'm a bit of an addict for, but I try to eat that. You know that combo of the raspberries, the grapes and strawberries?
Yeah.
And they come in two sizes. Large one of those, but eat before you get back in the car. Put your everything on the passenger seat, off you go. That's my strategy.
We couldn't be married.
We couldn't actually.
No.
We did discover the Maltesers in your car.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We discovered the packet.
we just know there was actually a Malteser
There was on the floor.
on the floor.
They're always.
Is that the emergency Malteser?
Yeah, yeah. There's normally.
We did find it.
I'm not that organised with this stuff. I totally take your point, but you're a man of routine. Neil has a routine, and I really admire it, and I'm jealous of it. So he's up early. If anyone that follows him on Instagram will see he's always up, you know, before the sparrows.
Yeah.
And he has a routine. I think if you have a routine, you can make those decisions and you can be that disciplined. But if you're like me and you don't know what you're doing tomorrow, and your head's
you don't
chaos.
like routine. Let's
But I'm always on the road, and I find it very difficult. I want to be like you, but I can't do it. So I'm going to come back to this in a minute. Managed thoughts.
I'm with Neil on this.
Oh,
I mean, the only exception to this, if you remember, I did do 675 miles last year, which if you divide by my quarterly journeys, it's about 30 miles, and I'd like to think I could go half an hour there eating. But a Snicker bar is my only absolute kind of, a Snicker bar in a car. But I don't think they don't really go everywhere, do they?
No, but you'd be disciplined. You'd have had. Could you make a Snicker bar last more than one journey?
What?
You mean could I eat part of a Snicker bar, reseal the packet and so on?
Yeah, I mean, or would you? You'd only have one Snicker bar a year.
Yes, no, well,
A year?
It's right, once a year. But no, once or twice. No, really. It's an emergency.
Yeah, emergency.
It's an emergency only.
Imagine if you had to do 35,000 miles a year,
Yeah.
travelling at all times of day.
Yeah.
Could you maintain the discipline of not eating in a car?
Imagine I was a 6'10" basketball player. I mean, exactly the same. I have no idea what 35,000 miles a year. Imagine you went to
I
the
do that in
moon
about
landing
6 months.
in a car. Exactly. No.
Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, theoretically, yeah.
You
But
could
if
maintain the
Well, if
discipline.
I was a 1970s truck driver, you know, going
Yorkie.
35. Yeah, I'd have my Yorkie bars.
Yeah.
My crisps, I suppose so. But I think in my universe, I think.
Are you as offended by people eating food in cars as Neil is?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, we don't allow it. When I
Right.
say we, I.
Yeah. Okay.
No, don't. I don't. No.
Okay. Interesting. Right. Where do you? I think I know where you stand on it.
Have a wild guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So those of you who are here, not watching us on the internet, will know that I came in my Alpine here today, and some of you very kindly have pointed out it's quite clean. And there are two reasons for that. One is because, as we all know, clean cars are physically nicer. They're faster. They're nicer to drive. They steer better. They stop better. They're more attractive to our friends and other people in our social circles. The other reason why my car is clean is because I had to eat in it on the road on Thursday night. I'm here to share that confession with all of you. I'm so sorry. It was an emergency though, because I've been in London on Thursday. I had a long day, very, very important business meetings, and I left very late on the Thursday night. I had to be in Cornwall that night, and the A303 was shut. Any of you knows the A303, it's not a surprise. Why did you get caught out by that? So by about 11:30, the only place to stop to get some food, because you can't stop on a journey. This is where Neil and I are different. When you're on a journey, that's it. You're going somewhere. You cannot stop and punctuate it with tourism.
That's why you have to eat in the car.
That's why sometimes it's an emergency. But when it's an emergency, it can go wrong. So I have some other offences I need you to take into consideration. So I stopped at a drive-through of a popular burger provider. So I had a burger and some chicken elements, indeterminate anatomical sauce. It was dark in the car and I was terrified, so I sort of spread my shirt out thinking, at least the crumbs won't go on the car. They'll just go on me. I can get in the washing machine. I can't get the car in the washing machine. And then I had a whole packet of peanut M&Ms.
Oh, whilst driving?
Whilst driving.
You commit, so
Can you eat M&Ms when you're driving?
I can eat anything.
And I had a
Let's
whole...
be clear.
There's more.
Sorry. No, your footage is currently with Hampshire Police or Wiltshire Police going, there's
No, that was the previous
a
week.
pervert has been noted
That was the previous week.
shuffling about with his shirt in the car park.
I did do that. And I had a whole packet of Maynard's fruit-sauced
What,
wine.
so you did a burger, you chased the burger with nuggets.
No,
and you've
chicken
done
strips.
Oh yeah, they're better.
They're different.
And you've done a packet of wine gums and what else?
And this is the point. I'm with Neil. I felt unwell, unwashed, and dirty.
And what of those food things were you driving, moving?
All of them.
No.
All
Well,
of
you ate
them.
the burglar on the move.
You can't stop on a journey. We've had this conversation before.
Well, that's why I eat in the car.
And it was 7.5 hours anyway. But I was so traumatized by the fact that I can't get Emma's digestive out of my mind actually, sorry Emma, but it was worse than that.
Opening a packet of digestives that have got a crumbler, top or bottom, and she's gone, oh, sorry, Neil. That's F12, there's just crumbs everywhere.
She takes one.
I'm going to buy you a packet of digestives to open in the car, please.
On the way home.
She would never eat more than one, but the one just gets taken in the hand,
Yeah.
just one. Yeah.
So I had to get yesterday, I had to get somebody to clean my car. I was so traumatized having eaten on the move in the car.
Even though you couldn't see much mess.
I knew it was there. I mean, we would all know, you wouldn't. How you and I used to drive together.
I know. For me, it's a necessity. There's a couple of reasons why. I agree with, once you're moving. I don't want to stand around a service station. In an Italian service station, you can have coffee, cigarette, chill out, be cool, look at the beautiful people. Yeah. It's a nice place to be. I don't know a British service station. I like Gloucester services, but...
Oh, they're so busy though. I tried that staying there today. It's too busy.
Yeah. But most service stations are just horrific, aren't they? And if you do what I do for a living, the type of interaction you're going to have, you're not going to have someone really nice like you guys come up and go, hi, let's have a nice conversation. They'll sort of lurk, shuffle a bit, come up to you and go, and you go, well, I'd rather not talk to you.
You're probably late.
Yeah.
And I'm late, and I've got my permanent scowl, so I'm trying to be nice, but I'm not sure about this. Someone came up to me at Gloucester Services a few weeks ago, and just went, I thought your Top Gear was shit, but by the end it was less shit. And I went, thanks.
They're not wrong though, are they?
No, they're absolutely right, but you don't want to hear it the whole time. So I'll take that one on the chin. But so if I can minimise my exposure to weirdos at service stations, I will. That means I eat them a lot more. But there was that was slick. When we used to test cars on the magazines years ago, everyone used to eat in the cars, but you had to sort of play the game. And if it was a test car, you could leave it as a pit for the week's loan, but then you had to clear it out before it went back. And we were very good at that. You'd never send a car back that had all the shit in it from a photo shoot or what have you. Yeah. But people's long-termers, They're long-term vehicles. You see at the back of the magazine, the editor had a long-term or the road test or whatever. They were a bit sacred. You had to be very careful. And I came undone badly once. Frankel will know this. So Andrew Frankel had an XJR, same generation as that one there, but the shorter one. I think it was a T-plate, S or a T-plate. He was the editor of Motorsport magazine. And I remember we took it to Germany for the launch of the E39 M5, which I always remember was just outside an Austrian town called Rimsting.
You just made that up.
No, Google it. Rimsting. R-I-M.
Someone Google it, please.
Rimsting. Google Rimsting. Where's Finn? Google Rimsting now. And the police will be on you in a minute. I think it's near the Wank Mountains. It's there. So that's a real place as well. Yeah. So I got back and I handed the car back and I made sure it was all clean. And what I hadn't realised is that I'd left, and this is a danger for everyone, this is a warning for all of you, a rogue baby bell had got down between the seat and the console, and Andrew wasn't happy because he'd given it the way. He'd come back and he presented the offending item to me and went, "I found this in my car."
It's a driving, eating thing, a baby bell, actually.
Was it peeled or unpeeled?
No, it was a carcass.
Oh, it was a carcass.
Just the wax.
That's bad.
And in those days, of course, I like the odd cigarette now, but I was quite a heavy smoker back then, and you shouldn't be smoking in test cars, but of course you always did, and you sort of have the window down and try and cover it, and then one day you'd get the blow back in, so you'd work out there's some critical. You'd flick a stub out the window, you'd have the back window down, it gets sucked back in and land on the carpet.
That's important testing work.
Jesus, I can remember having something that had quite deep pile carpet and there was a fag burn in the back carpet. And we were at the road test department, collective 8 brain cells were there. We had nail scissors, trimming it. Someone put a makeup pot in so we could try and cover it up. It's an absolute disaster. That was the last time I was smoking in a test car, and I haven't done so for 25 years.
What would be your favourite thing to eat in the car then?
Anything. I quite like the challenge sometimes. So I quite...
The messier the better.
And you really... Everyone that eats in cars should be employed by the makers of fast food to look at packaging designs.
That is true.
Because you look at the standard sort of cardboard sandwich design is so flawed. If you're trying to, if you're trying to do 120 sideways and open it, it's just not doable, is it?
It should be a glove that just holds the burger. You should actually just be able to put your
I
hand
rarely
into
eat
it.
burgers in cars. It's normally a sandwich or some fruit.
Do you remember the Jim will fix it on the roller coaster? That's basically what you're describing.
Yeah. But when Gary Glitter took the girl and
That's called an underarm, Manish.
Yes.
I think I quite like eating in the car. I really do. And if you run a car for 2 years, it's amazing what you find in it.
I think a Ginster's pasty probably is designed for car eating, isn't it? I'd imagine that.
It was designed for the tin mines, wasn't it? Cars, a piece of cake,
Yeah, or even a piece of cake is quite handy.
Or a piece of cake.
I think it should be banned.
It's so harsh. You're such an easygoing, lovely man. You can't ban it, can you? I've got one word here: tariffs.
Oh.
The serious part of the podcast. We'll go to the grown-up. Chris Cooper, tariffs. That's not a Turkish taxi driver, by the way.
That's me being polite about
Aston
it.
Martin tariff.
That was good.
Or Lagonda, wasn't it?
Yeah,
There was a
that was
Lagonda,
a good. That will come back.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? It's just there are no rules or disciplines we can seemingly rely on now. And without getting too political about it, it feels, 25%, if that's what it's going to be in the US, 25% is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It could all change next week. So, part of me isn't trying to get to, I'm sure some of you here and people listening, some of us do this. We have this sort of, if you read newspapers, you get the daily email in the FT or whatever it is.
FT, what's that?
It's the fun times. Fun times, yeah. And you get to the point where actually don't look at it because it's too depressing, it's too dramatic. So as we're here in this wonderful location at Fisher Performance, I would like to say just ignore it, actually, because it could all change next week. So I'm not getting too worked up about it. If we thought about it, it would just be Armageddon. So I'm trying not to think about it.
I presume part of his way of doing things is he lobs a bomb and then just wants to start the deal with in charge of the conversation. Is that your view, Neil?
I went to a talk this week, or I was a guest at a Ponzi AGM thing, and
My friend was there, wasn't that?
yeah,
fancy?
it was, yeah. And well, it was quite Ponzi. Yeah, he's quite Ponzi, your best friend.
Manish, we've talked about this.
In a lovely Ponzi way.
Okay.
And I was there, so I suppose I was faking being
How famous
Ponzi.
was he?
Well, there were two guys doing I won't mention the names, but there were two guys. One was a British politician, ex-politician, and one worked for Trump. Trump won.
Trump won.
Trump won. And that's definitely the debate, was Trump 1 versus Trump 2, and the differences, which was fascinating. And what he said was that Trump has spent a lot of time talking to economists, obviously right-wing biased or Republican biased economists, which basically has been telling him, which is not without truth, that the world, and it's public, isn't it? 'Cause he says it, the world has been screwing America in terms of tariffs. And if you look at current tariffs, EU to America versus America to EU, the EU has been charging tariffs 3 to 4 times what America charges EU makers. Hence the reason, maybe one of many other reasons, why there aren't many American cars imported into Europe. Now I know it's not a European tariff; it's a global tariff, and I don't know what because the other big area.
Have
I
you
suppose,
tried
is
driving a
Japanese.
Ford Raptor in
No, but
rural
Yeah, you have.
Gloucestershire?
No, but you.
I had one for 2 years. Jesus.
I'm not so sure that that's the, I think what Trump's view is, I'm trying to be balanced here, is that I'm going to open the discussions and negotiations to ensure that I can level some of the playing
Yeah,
fields.
that is
here,
true.
Right? That's,
Yeah. He has
And-
confused sometimes VAT with tariffs, but
well, no, he is at the moment.
yeah. But you're right.
And I think if you are the biggest country in the world economically that buys the most stuff from everybody, and you've got these huge deficits with everyone, where you buy other people's gear and they buy a lot less of your gear, maybe he has some validity to endeavour to balance the situation. Because I think it's 7 to 8% tariffs on American cars into Europe, and it's 3% into America from Europe. So I think there's going to be a lot of Porsche ST left-hand drives maybe available that maybe people are going to be, I'm not so sure about that 100 grand extra that you're going to charge me on the 1st of May.
Yeah.
Or 12 cylindries or whatever.
There'll be a few of them around, won't there?
There'll be a few of those around in left-hand drive that maybe Ferrari or Porsche or Aston. I mean, it's a big problem for Aston.
Aston's the one, when I read it, I thought
Big-
they're
yeah,
done. They're in real trouble.
It's a challenge for Aston. It's a challenge for Bentley as well. A challenge for Rolls-Royce too. And I think it's a negotiation basically.
Manish?
Well, there was a great article actually today, both on the BBC News website, but also in the FT, and just bringing the big articles together, defence as well as cars. The Americans are effectively arguing that their deficit is now pretty much unmanageable. And someone said, I think it was Niall Ferguson, who said today that when your interest payments are more than your defence spending, you've got a problem with your empire. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but I assume it is. He's mentioned it. And so effectively, I think the reasoning for American economic policy, I'm not an economist, my Ponzi friend is,
Which one? Oh yes, he is.
That
Yes,
one.
yes, yes.
He's definitely
Yeah,
Ponzi.
yes.
Yeah.
So he's arguing that America's going out there and saying we need to really balance our books, and they're looking at everything. Obviously, defence is one of the big things they put up. Cars are another thing. Food will be another thing. There's a small flip side to this, which is if you really look at the numbers, very wealthy Americans and American corporations aren't paying tax. Their problem is that, Tim Cook can turn around to the American government and say, I'm offshoring my money rather than paying tax. And that is driving a hell of a lot of problems in that country. You've got to collect tax basically from everybody. I think living in a civilized country, it's been a bit of a joke that for the last 20 or 30 years, American infrastructure has just got worse and worse and worse, and it has. They just don't spend money in that way. And I think you might be right. This might be posturing. This might be a way.
Oh, I think it's
definitely
negotiation.
Yeah, but it's not going to be victimless negotiation. This, and you pointed out a couple of car companies that will suffer. I mean, John Elkann, the Exor Group, sold 4% of their Ferrari shares last month. They said to rebalance their portfolio, but he'd actually seen Trump the week before that. I think Fiat Chrysler might be in really big trouble because of all of this. And you do wonder. Ferrari have said they're putting their prices up. Is it 5% or 10%?
Well, they do it. They do it
that anyway.
They're saying that. Well, I mean, they're saying they're going to do that. We're trying to grow economies here, and this is quite a terrifying time, I think. It'd be terrible if we took ourselves or bargain ourselves into a dumb recession because of the threat of tariffs. And commodities traders today have been saying, they just can't keep up with it anymore. Is the tariff coming? Is it not coming?
Yeah.
I think it's got to be vaguely coherent. My fear is that, cars are expensive. New cars are expensive things. People have to plan for them. You don't just go and buy one. And, apart from you.
Yeah.
Most of us, yeah, exactly, have to go and buy one. The BBC article was fantastic today because it looked at just looked at some average Americans making decisions about whether to buy cars or not. And the fear is a tariff is a tax. And someone pays that. And if it's a consumer, especially one right at the bottom, parts become an issue. So
parts is the untold story. Because parts often cross borders 2 or 3 times.
7.
Before
now.
7 is
in the States.
So can you imagine the parts passport of a lower arm for a F-150 or something?
Yeah.
Deary me.
Or
I think we should.
For a 456.
But maybe it is unfair that the world puts higher tariffs on America than what America puts tariffs on people's goods coming into America.
I think these are negotiated at the WTO level, though. I think you'll find there'll be all kinds of little reciprocal. They've effectively created an airline an airline business, Boeing, by subsidising it through their defence.
Well, Airbus is the same.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but it was a reaction to that, and that's the point. I think these things are quite subtle.
They are all a bit connected. They are
exactly.
all a bit
I
connected.
think before anyone notices, we should build a car factory in Greenland.
Yeah. Good
I think
idea.
we should do that.
Well, you've all done well. You're still awake after
Yeah.
that little 10 minutes on tariffs. I thought I'd stress test this or sense test it with a friend of mine who runs a business that makes Porsche rally cars and road cars called Tuttils, right? So Richard's good mate. So the morning of the tariffs, we were all laughing on particular WhatsApp groups, weren't we? Because Rachel from accounts had given her mini budget, and everyone's talking about everyone knows what headroom is now, don't they? They've got this headroom. Because I'm so stupid, I know about this headroom.
You've got more headroom than most of us.
Yeah, very good. So we've all got the headroom, and then it sounds like Donald's about 4 hours later skewered her and gone, well, the headroom's going to go if we place tariffs. So I phoned Tuttil at 7:30am and went, mate, these tariffs, are they going to be a problem for you selling that 911K? He went, what tariffs? Absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Didn't care at all. He goes, mate, I'm trying to make an engine rev to 11. I've got bigger problems.
I think
words of
the
wisdom.
challenge, if you're waiting for your ST, right, and you're living in LA and you've ordered a PTS ST and it's on the boat and you've got the little Porsche app and it's on its way, but you're going to get caught in the tariff. I think probably your issue is, okay, it's a pain if I've got a big tariff. The bigger pain is if it comes off in 6 months' time, because then you're stuck with the car.
You're one of the ones.
You're one of the ones and you're trying to get your money back because you're going to do 5,000 miles, and in theory you were going to flip it and make 100 grand anyway.
There'll be some lawyer that.
I can feel the sympathy for that customer in this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I think
it's
that's
palpable.
the reality of, I mean, clearly we're talking about
Yeah.
Porsche, Aston Martin, Bentley, Rolls-Royce. We're not talking about Toyota or Ford or Land Rover. But I think you don't want to be the guy that paid 75 grand more when the
You don't.
tariffs disappeared.
A car you want to love, but is spoiled by one little nagging fault. Car, not a person, right? I bet you've got several of these.
I mean, you know I'm a bit OCD. And driving position. We talked about driving position last week.
It is that, really.
And fast forwards of recent years with the seat that's too high and the steering wheel that's just a bit too low. I almost can't let the idea of those cars, which are so good, into my head, because the frustration that I will feel, I know I should get out more, but when it's a physical pain of thinking I can't enjoy that car. Why? It's so the ultimate one, and I see people writing.
Slow it down, it'll come out.
I'm always the Clio 172.
Oh, that was. Who's had one of those? We've all had one of those. Who genuinely among you can say you fitted that car? It's terrible, wasn't it?
Just, I remember thinking, I tried one when they were new at the dealer, and this is how painful it was, because the car I bought instead of it, I haven't actually said this out loud before, was an original Mercedes A190, which is the worst car ever. And I bought that instead of a 172 because the driving position was better.
Wow.
Jesus.
I can't believe I've just said that out
Anyone
loud.
want to be the fourth member of the podcast? Or?
I'll get my coat.
Jesus, that's awful.
But yeah.
Okay, so it can't be a driving position.
Yeah, that's a problem, because that
It is the driving position.
It's mainly the driving
It
position.
is.
You can
It is.
almost.
I've asked the same questions last week. Sorry, I'll think about. I'll get another. I'll think of another question
I think it's worth a debate, because the driving position is the most serious
Fault.
fuck up.
And why? But why do you must know this, because do you work in cars?
Yes.
So why do some of them? Why have Fords always got that worse than other car makers? Who seem to work
It'll be mostly about strike angles for airbags and stuff like that, because you need to homologate the car so that when that one goes off and that one goes off, and there's probably some computer that tells you you're better off being more upright, and they don't want you low in the car because that side airbag will miss your head.
I just think they're all little. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Yeah.
the issue with that. I own a trophy.
How do you?
I own a trophy.
Okay.
How do you
Well,
drive it?
I do. The Recaro is a little bit better.
Slightly. I'll give you
The
that. I'll give
Recaro
you
is
that.
a little
Yeah.
bit better in the trophy, and but I do compromise myself just because the love of that.
Because it is.
car.
Yeah. Well done, you.
And
Yeah,
the
I can't do that.
Evo's car of the year and the 5-star thing,
Yeah.
and if you. But I love that car. I love you know.
Can you drive it far?
Yeah. It's not like an Abarth Fit, like your bloody Fit
Yeah.
last week.
That's the worst.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You
But there are two lovely ones for sale outside here.
Yes.
Brilliant car, especially good driving position.
That does break your back, that car, in the end. But I think driving position is about the only thing. It's not the Conti T or... I mean, the other issue I had was the 992, where the gear lever is and the cup holders. How they got that wrong, that is a bit shit on the 992.
I think there's lots of stuff like this, and I think quite often when you live with a vehicle, it's not the big stuff that makes you find it difficult or question why you bought it or just drive around the twist. It's the little things, isn't it? I can buy a car and after a week think, God, the primary ride in this, like the normal ride in this, is just shit.
Yeah.
But I'll live with it because I've got my head around it, or I've got a very padded arse anyway, or I'll find a way around it.
Yeah.
But if I've got an electric window switch that I don't like the feel of, or a steering wheel that's too thick, or I can't get from a heated seat to radio 4 without pressing 17 buttons, I'm done. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I've got one massive impediment at the moment, and that is the lane departure and the speed limit thing. I mean, that's enough for me not to want to buy a new car. I just don't. I know with the apps you can configure your car so when you get in the car, you can take it off. But I mean, the amount of swearing that goes on when you're in there going, fucking thing, go on.
I think that's all going to go away then. I mean, I know that's probably a bit too naive a comment, but it's so bad, it's such a reason not to buy a new car that I think, because they're EU rules, right? They're not global rules.
No, they're EU.
They are.
They're EU rules, and I think there'll be meetings going on at the minute going, and another thing, let's not even talk about tariffs. This is the CEO of Mercedes to Angela von der Leyen, or whatever her name is. Can we just come back to the lane assist and talk about that,
Yeah.
please? Please drop that, because our sales are down 17%, and we've done the market research, because all these companies do weekly market they know exactly what everyone thinks of all
They
of their
listen to
products.
us the whole time. Yeah.
They know.
I'll give you another good example. Carrera GT clutch.
Hands up, who's Carrera GT's clutch?
There you go. 911 ST, new ST clutch. It's great when you get going. It's a right bastard in traffic. I
I'm
can assure
happy
you.
to talk about the Carrera GT clutch.
Yeah.
Mine was Saddam Hussein's son's car.
Yeah. Was that Uday?
Yeah.
That's, by the way, Uday's the one that used to feed people to tigers for a laugh. And Neil bought his Carrera GT.
Chris, I think that was actually Kusek who did that.
All right. That was another friend of Manish's. That was
Yeah.
another massive name drop
It didn't
there.
say that in the Bonhams ad.
I actually met somebody who name drops more than Manish this week. I did.
Who was that?
I can't.
Saddam Hussein's son.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah.
It was one of 3 in white, original white cars with orange tobacco-y leather. And actually, there were many other reasons why I didn't keep that car very long. Mainly because it just scared the shit out of me, to be honest. And you know, you're worried about the magnesium, the titanium wheels, and it's as wide as a triple bed. And it was the clutch. It wasn't the clutch. I come to terms with the clutch.
I
Actually,
get.
going off, you just don't use.
You don't use the throttle.
Don't use the throttle, and it was okay actually.
But I suppose my example is there is some stuff that is remarkably brilliant and everyone thinks is amazing, but they have these niggles. I know loads of people that say loads of people, that's an exaggeration. I know many people who said, I wouldn't keep a Carrera GT because I couldn't get on with the clutch.
Yeah.
And they garnered a lot of sympathy with this audience.
Yes,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
they're all with us.
But
Yeah.
the gear knob probably does balance it. It's probably the best gear knob of any.
That wooden,
Yeah. it's
that
the
thing
best.
up there.
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah. That was, I always remember that launch. There was they took us to an airfield, a Cold War airfield on the Polish-German border, because they figured they had lots of space. Have I bored you with this story before?
No.
Bore us
Sure.
with it now.
We get there, and there weren't many of us. It was the one and only launch event ever done with Jay Clarkson Esquire. He was on the event as well. So we all got bussed to this at the airfield. We got there, and the German PR guy went, "This is the largest Cold War airfield in Germany." And we're like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then I remember him saying, "There are 5 runways here longer than your Heathrow."
Oh, God.
They always like a do in there, don't they? Your Heathrow. So this place was absolutely enormous, and the whole point was so that an idiot journalist like me couldn't shut the thing. It was very difficult to hit anything, and so you got to go around this handling course as a passenger with Walter, who skidded the shit out of it.
Lovely.
But he was having to work hard. He was sweating, Walter was, because the early cars were not easy on that Pilot Sport tyre. Anyhow, we were all sitting there, and they sort of erected a temporary structure. We could sit there, and then we just heard this. The thing sounded amazing from the outside, quite shit from the inside. Sounds like an Audi Quattro when you're in it. It sounds quite dull, but when you're outside, it's like
Lovely,
a
yeah.
whoop, V10 howling noise. And we heard this whoop, and everyone thought, everyone ran outside just to go, let's watch someone else's paint. Something's gone wrong here. And there was just a Carrera GT with just steam and shit coming out the back of it. and the Greek hand, whatever his name was, the handiest bloke from Greece, because he'd get only one Greek or Italian would get invited. The handiest. So the Greek, whoever he was, had managed a 5th to 2nd. And it was a proper ballistic event. There was just piston like everywhere. It's an absolute mess. And they didn't like it. They were really unhappy.
Yeah.
So play for the day was sort of stopped. We were allowed to have a bit more of a run. And we had this awkward silence, and we all sat in the room. And this bloke had to do the walk straight. He obviously said, "Can I just go anywhere? I'll walk across 5 runways, and I'll go to Poland if you
Live
want." And they went, "No, you're going back in there." He had to just come in, open the doors, and there was this terrible silence. So he went over to the buffet to get himself like a schnitzel and just sat in the corner. It's fucking brutal, it was.
I mean, it is one of the best Top Gear little clips, the Clarkson Carrera GT one, isn't it?
That's great.
I'm sure most of us have watched it 100 times when he's weighing all the pieces in the German accent. He probably got it exactly from how he experienced the launch.
Well, yeah,
It was-
I remember that was quite new, early in new Top Gear, wasn't it? It was, anyhow, thanks though. I'm glad you enjoyed that show.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Great. It was.
I've watched it many times.
It was it was very, very good. Hold on. We've done, where are we up
We were
to?
going to do Q&A in the middle.
We were going to do Q&A at the end. I was going to liven up with some questions from the audience in the middle, but we're not. We'll do it afterwards. The colour green.
Oh, God.
Now, we've agreed, because we like colours, all of us. We could do entire episodes on the colour green. Thoughts on the colour green?
We love green so much. All of us came here in blue cars.
Yeah.
I
That
came
is-
in a green train.
Which, yes. And you came, actually, you're the only one. Yeah.
If you want to take trains, buy a 456. Sorry, that was horrible of me, but I couldn't resist it.
We didn't talk about cars that I love, not so much anymore.
Oh shit, no, go off you go now.
No, I was just going to say Ferrari 456. It's got one or two little niggles.
Yeah,
Things
Compressors.
that niggles that drive
air,
me mad.
air conditioning compressors.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, bless.
Yeah,
That was,
a
we've
few
been through that
electrical
once already.
challenges
So the colour green.
I mean, it's just the best colour, isn't it, for a car?
Put your hands up if you like green cars.
Yes!
Oh, yeah. Thank God for that.
The end.
Go on. That's
I
it.
mean, green used to be an unlucky colour. I can remember
Where does that come from?
I don't remember my father. We had, you mentioned it earlier, Neil,
It's true.
the Ford Consul.
Yeah.
My father had a Ford Consul estate in fern green,
Nice.
quite a lighty mid green.
Yeah.
And I remember people, because I was a little nipper, I was so proud of my dad. He had a Ford Consul 2.5. I just thought he'd gone to the moon because he
Yeah.
had this car. And then I was appalled when people saw him or us in this car, and they looked at it and they said, "Oh, that's unlucky.
It's true.
It's green. Where does that come from?"
Our national racing colour was green. Is that why Sterling never won a championship? I don't understand
I
where
don't
does it come
understand it
from?
either. Well, I mean, thank God it's gone.
It's still China.
Is it?
Yeah, unlucky, yeah.
Is it?
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Okay, colour green. You've got plenty to say on this, I'm sure.
Well, I've got a friend called Luke Gilbertson who created the Make Green Great.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Oh, is that who?
Oh,
yeah.
you must see. Have you
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
that Instagram account?
Everyone's seen
Yeah.
that.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of
And,
them
and
going, yeah.
anyone knows Tall Luke. A lot of people probably do know Tall Luke. Amazing car nerd, brilliant friend of mine. Actually, I was on his stag do last weekend in Sicily, driving cars around Sicily. And he created Make Green Great Again, because actually green wasn't really that cool 10 years ago, was it? It wasn't. It was
unavailable 10 years
It was
ago.
Yeah.
murmuring around, and I think it's a funny mixture of exactly what you say, Chris, of unlucky. If you speak to old people, and we're not old, obviously, they will say, "Oh, green! Don't ever get a green car; it's unlucky." But you've got that mixture of the British thing. It was our racing colour, so you've got that Bentley racing against the blue of France or the red of Italy, right, and the silver of Germany, or the white of Germany. I'm never sure whether it's silver or white.
Nor were they.
So it's a sort of chic British thing. And you go to Paris or you go to Italy and you see the Jaguars and they're always in dark green, or the Minis are all, so that's sort of, what do they say in business? Act Yiddish, dress British. So we're seen as a very chic race, and therefore the green thing is linked to that. But then you look at the sportiness of green because of the racing thing, and then I suppose now it's super cool. I painted 6 cars green in COVID. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you did.
Because I went really mad in COVID, like us all, right? We
Otherwise, you're completely normal.
yeah,
aren't you?
exactly.
Yeah.
And we were all stuck at home, and our businesses were bankrupt, and it was all a mess, even though the sun was out, and it was all sort of, on the face of it, lovely, wasn't it, for a moment?
Weird.
But actually, it was all super shit. And I did go a little bit mad. And Brewster Green is a colour that I love, ex-Bentley colour. That's, you know, I've got a Porsche in that colour. And I decided to take 6 cars and paint them green. So a Mini Cooper S, 1964, a Lamborghini Espada, a Range Rover V8. What else did I paint? Some sort of bloody Mercedes. Anyway, I went mad and fell in love with Brewster Green even more. So I think, and what was that? The Dino outside is Medio? Yeah, Verde Medio. I think when they go lighter, it's actually better because it's sportier. You've got the chic element, but you've got the sporty loveliness of Verde Medio.
Do you think it
Verdi
makes the-
Francesca, that guy that painted the Pista, named after his daughter?
Yeah, that's a cool colour.
That's a great green.
I thought when that one arrived, I thought it almost feels lighter, the thing.
Medio is lovely. So I think lighter, because normally when colours go lighter, I don't like them as much as the darker. Even in blues, I prefer the darker blues. But frankly, apart from Brewster, which is colour I love, I like the lighter greens, like Medio. Looks super cool, actually.
Manish, green.
When I was a kid, there was an encyclopedia of automobiles. They made, I think, 12 of them, and I was really in love with the Countach at the time, desperately in love with the Countach at the time. And I found chassis 001, and I think you can Google it. It's my.
That's the one at
I've seen it
in the museum.
In the museum.
It's in the museum.
Yeah.
With the chrome strip.
Exactly. It has chrome instead of black, but basically it's. I was trying to find the name of the green, and it's like a mint green. I think it's not Ateda or whatever they call it, Verde Ateda. I couldn't find the name.
It's
but
not Condor, no.
Sod Enzo.
It's not Enzo green, but it's a very beautiful green. It's a very how would you describe it? Yeah, mint
That
green.
works, doesn't it?
Sodenzo.
Sodenzo. I'm having that one.
But it's fantastic, and the leather inside's Cuyo,
Yeah.
and it has a suede
Alcantaras.
dashboard. It's
Yeah.
just absolutely. I mean, it is stunning. But I had a couple of other books. And I think I told you about my stepmother had a 535. It was the
That's
E28,
right. Yeah.
and I think it's called Plantanengrün. That very deep, dark metallic green with black leather inside. But it also works with tan leather inside. So it's
Yeah.
the 635s that were that very classy green as well. But the very last one I thought about, actually, a great car in green, a genuinely great car in green, first time I saw it, was the Jordan 191.
Yeah.
That's a
The
good
Eddie
green.
Jordan
Yeah.
7-up car with the blue,
That's a good green.
blue on the side pods with that double green. It was a very dark green with a lighter green, and then the 7-up logo in the middle.
I
Looked fantastic.
there was a
Yeah.
great story around the 7-Up thing there, and Eddie totally debunked it. So there was a story that when they launched that car, Eddie put 7-Up on the side of the car, but then no deal had been done. He just did it, put it on the side of the car, and then when they unveiled it, he went to 7-Up and went, "That looks good, give me £1 million," or whatever it was. And I said to Eddie, I said, "That's a great story." He went, "Absolute bollocks, it never happened like that." It was absolute, and I'd heard it so many times, absolutely shattered me.
Don't
Yeah,
want- you
what's
want-
that?
Eddie went, "I wouldn't do that," and he went, "No, absolute rubbish." Where do you
He
get
had
that
a deal
from?
with Pepsi. He'd done the deal with Pepsi and had that.
Yeah,
on the side.
yeah.
Everyone was after that deal, and he
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
The unlucky green thing was well, looking back, I was quite confused. So I can remember, I wanted my father to get a green Audi or something, And he went, no. He was a very old-fashioned chap. He was a nice man, but he was quite scary. He said, no, we're not having a green car. They're unlucky.
Yeah.
And my mother, who'd had a couple of Dubonnets, it could be quite amusing, went, well, they're only unlucky because you fucking... No, she didn't like... I don't think she F-bombed, but she was quite sweary. She went, because you rolled that BMW with me in it, and it was green.
Yeah.
So he had barrel rolled a 2002 TII with her in it, and they were
Quite impressive.
yeah, like it went over several times. And have you seen the A-pillars on those things? The roof was shit. I remember her saying afterwards, the roof came in on it as well. Dreadful shitbox. So she had to climb out of it. So I think that's why she always said they were unlucky, because she nearly died in one. Can someone find out what this green unlucky thing is?
Yeah,
I just think
I'm told it's still unlucky in China.
I love the colour green. I don't buy enough.
Red, isn't it? I mean, the Chinese consider red as the...
Maybe it is on the colour dial.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's the exact opposite, isn't
maybe
it?
that's
It's the
right.
opposite
Yeah,
way.
that's right.
Is
Maybe
it? Is it
that.
considered to be? I didn't know that. I love a green car. I think they're wonderful. But like everything, when they become too popular, like how many PTS green 911 STs and Tourings are there out there? The first generation, you
All of
couldn't
them?
get one.
Yeah.
You know, now if you want to stand out, you just don't buy a green one. It's a shame. Do I like it any
I think
less?
that's
Probably
true,
not.
Yeah. I don't think there's many new cars that are being ordered in green though. I think this world of make green great again, the classic greens, you still don't see that many. I mean, Land Rover, as we know, deleted it from their...
Deliberately deleted.
Yeah.
And all the press
target
cars,
colour.
you couldn't get a green Jaguar.
No.
They weren't allowed to make
No,
them, were
that's
they?
Right. So I don't know whether there are more green cars being ordered new. I suppose the Alpina
I was
green.
going to say, Alpina B3,
was-
There's a nice one
they
outside.
look fantastic.
Yeah, that was the one that always got me from the
Yeah.
sort of 80s and 90s pre-Porsche.
Oh, they were mega, weren't they?
Yeah.
That,
yeah.
by the way, I'm on commission. That is being sold today, that Alpina. Go and have a look at it. Yes, it's done a few miles, but it's absolutely... That's a great summer smoker, that is. A great summer smoker. It's outside.
Where is it?
There's an
just
Alpina out
outside.
there.
Oh, right, okay.
No, that's a
Yeah.
Corvette.
Okay. Yes. yeah. I thought that was a SF90.
No, because it would...
No, it's better than that. Yeah, it's a
It-
Corvette.
you could smell the burn of depreciation if it was an SF90. Right, we're moving on to a two-car garage, which I really, really like this week. Okay.
I have actually not even paired.
Well, you're going to wing it because you always do.
Yeah, yeah.
As it's Eric Clapton's 80th birthday party on Sunday, Manish wrote this because he knows everyone.
Tonight. The birthday party's tonight.
Can you read the first
It's his
bit
birthday
about
tomorrow.
Are you
the party?
going?
That one there.
I'm doing it now. Okay. As it's Eric Clapton's 80th birthday party tonight, and everyone is going to the party on Saturday night. Are you? No, I'm
We're
not.
not.
No. Bernie, Luca, Crown Prince, etc. There we go. That's the. We've got a bell for every time Bernie, Luca, or Senna gets said on this podcast.
I'm
We're
amazed.
not that far through.
You got that
So
far.
we've got the Senna bell has not been used. I'm sure it will now. Why don't we say it's 1974, you're Eric Clapton, and you've just had a global smash with I Shot the Sheriff and the album 461 Ocean Boulevard. You're a huge rock star. Two cars, one for cruising, one for posing. What are you going for?
Is there a difference between those two things?
I didn't think there was a difference between those two things.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Can you just choose two cars?
Okay.
Thank you.
Top of my head, you'd have a 246 GTS for cruising, for posing, and I think we talked about this earlier. I think you'd have a Monteverde High 450
450.
for getting there.
The only car I've never seen.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen
you
every
said
other
that
car
on
that
the
exists apart from that.
Have you?
Was that ever? It must have been at a motor. Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen it. That's two other.
Have you seen the first McMurtry?
I haven't. But I know Max Chilton, so he sent me lots of pictures of it. So I can pretend that I've almost seen it.
Go on then, two cars.
Right. I think it has to be a Ferrari if it's Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And I think Clapton would order a V12,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
to
would.
be honest. And I think he'd order, 74 is a Daytona.
Yeah.
So he's ordered a Daytona. And I think then he would have taken inspiration from that Carpenter's album.
Yeah.
And therefore he would have done it in Rosso Corso. Or maybe it was Rosso Dino. An orange Daytona, I think would be cool, wouldn't it?
Rosso Dino.
Rosso Dino.
Tell you had one of those. Old Max Girardo had one. Did you ever see that
Yeah,
car?
I did.
That was stunning.
Plexiglass.
Yeah.
So I'd get, even though plexiglass was 70, 71, I'd get them to put the plexiglass on it just for me because I'm Eric Clapton, and I'd have tan in Rosso Dino,
Yes.
and then I would. So the cruising. What am I going to do? I'm going to be boring. I'm going to do the same shit that I always do. Mercedes 450 6.9.
Was that in 74?
Yeah.
Was
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
got a
that-
green
that-
one. He's got a green one of them as well.
Yeah.
Green.
Really annoying.
Green.
Oh,
And,
velour?
yeah, I'd have my car, 450 6.9 green, left-hand drive, so I can drive to Paris and reenact that film that I now
Rendezvous.
can. What's it called? Rendezvous,
Rendezvous.
Sete
which
and
was
Rendezvous.
actually done in a Mercedes 450 6.9, but with the soundtrack of a Daytona,
Dubbed
Yeah.
on it.
which I've only just remembered.
Wasn't it supposed to be a 275, not a Daytona?
I'm told if you Google it, it's more Daytona.
It's the
but
27
it does sound a bit more 275 actually.
Is that the ugly one?
Because it's a bit ugly, isn't it, the 275?
Well, look, I've sold it. It's gone, mate. So it's ugly now.
It's their Morgan Aero 8, isn't it?
No, I think that's the 250 short wheelbase.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There should be a bell for that joke, actually.
Yeah, Manish, 2-car garage.
I think he's going to arrive at premieres and rock concerts in a Berlinetta Boxer. I think it's going to be a 365, and I think it's going to be Rosso Corsa with the black underneath, and I think tan leather.
Early car, if it's 74.
Yeah.
Prototype maybe.
I thought they came out in 73.
Prototype.
He's Eric Clapton.
Well, 365.
Yeah, 365.
Well, it came after Daytona. I think
Yeah.
it was 73, so
Well,
maybe.
Googling it now.
74, I think he just sneaks it.
Three
Just
six
sneaked
five.
it in. Yeah.
Exactly, I think
Yeah.
he just sneaks
What's
it.
it,
but
what's it called? 365 GT
B.
GTB.
GTB
Yeah.
Boxer.
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 GTBB.
That'll have 6 exhaust pipes, won't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got the
Yeah.
pea shooters, and gosh,
think
for his
it's
cruising
74,
car, I think it's Eric Clapton. I think it's a Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible,
I think that's good.
and I think
I think that's
I'll go left-hand drive with that one as well. I think he's in Cannes a lot.
I
with
almost
that
went
baby.
Camargue, but it broke down.
That would have been 74. That's 74, yeah, you're right.
74, yeah.
What I love about this is
74.
we're so unconnected to reality that we're sitting there going, yeah, I'd have had a Camargue, I think maybe. Because we're actually when you're in the zone, you're in the zone, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're thinking
Yeah.
about it. So
I'm always in the zone.
I'm hearing Eric's voice as well. That amazing interview he gave where he talks about losing 4 years of his life when he can't remember. At the end of it, he goes, I didn't have a problem with cocaine. I could afford it. It's like you read that, it's like, what the
That's good.
It's been great. So he's definitely got a Daytona. Because every time I see a Daytona, I imagine Eric Clapton
Yeah,
driving
it's a
one,
Daytona.
albeit with a lot of flat surfaces inside.
Yeah.
So
Polished.
I'd go Daytona, and then what would you smoke about it? I think you'd have something really wacky, like one of those crazy BMW saloons that had 3.0 S on the back of it.
Yeah.
What were they? The Neue Klasse, you know, the sort of that
Yeah.
that
The original one.
the
The
pre
four-door
seven
one.
the pre 7 series
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the massive glass house.
Yeah.
I can remember I was in the south of France once, mooching along at 120 in a 911. One of those come past me. It was still going.
They're good.
And it was so yeah. I think I can imagine Eric in one of those actually, because he wants a little bit below the radar.
Yeah.
But when he wanted to be seen, Daytona.
There's only ever one of those 3-litre S things for sale, but no one wants it. So the guy
There's an
just keeps
estate.
it at 99
I was gonna
grand.
say,
Yeah.
But it's been
estate,
for
yeah.
sale for about 9 years. I'm pissed in there.
Go on, you're the man for
No,
it.
no,
Exactly.
no,
You are.
no,
Go on.
That's so
no.
cool.
No,
So
no,
cool.
no.
Right, before we'll do some music at the end, a few questions. Now, there's a contract here. If no one asks a question, it's really embarrassing. Really embarrassing, so I'll make some up. Or I'll just manage to tell us about his life story or something. Because otherwise it's going to be too embarrassing. So we're throwing it open to the floor. Ask us a question. Put your hands up, please. Right. Oh,
Okay,
good.
We've got some
At
questions.
the front there,
thank
go on.
God.
24 hours to turn a non-petrol head into a petrol head. Where are you going? What are you doing? And then what?
Did you hear that?
Oh, great.
24 hours to turn a non-petrol head into a petrol head. Where are you going? What are you doing? And what car are you driving? And that's a really, really good question. Neil Clifford, go first.
964 RS. Left all the way to Wales, wiggle all the way up through the middle of Wales, go to Anglesey, have a bacon and egg sandwich, drive round the track and come home. I think for me that is the 911. And the noise of it, it's not too powerful, you feel like a god even though you're not. It looks lovely, Wales is beautiful, take it round the track, don't kill yourself, come back and be fine.
Answer for that?
'Cause that's good. 911, 997 or later, doesn't really matter. Take him to the Nürburgring, God's own place.
Ring the bell, will you? Just ring the bell.
I don't give a shit. Yeah. And then afterwards, go to the Piston Clouds and have steak on a stone. If that doesn't do it, they're not living.
I'll give this an answer before Manish does. And I don't think you need to be driving. So back in the day, you might have done this, they used to do a tyre test at Silverstone mid-season. And it was the best place to go and watch, or time to go and watch Formula One.
That's nice.
Because you could see they'd really push the cars because they were trying to get to the limit of whatever tyre they'd been given. So you go to Maggots Beckett's, that bit there, the effing quick bit, in a sort of end of the V10 era. And if you stood there and watched what these cars were doing, I don't care if your parents owned the biggest lentil farm in Europe and they hated cars, you'd be utterly gobsmacked by what these people could do. And I think that's another segue into becoming a car enthusiast, is seeing competition cars working. Manish?
Yeah, I was going to steal your 246 actually. Go back to 1985 and go to Brands Hatch and go and watch a Grand Prix and watch, ready for the bell, Senna versus Piquet versus Lauda versus Mansell. Just go and do that. Go all 3 days. They'll come back.
That would be good.
Right, only one of us will answer the next questions. Hands up, who's got another question? I'm going to go for this gentleman here with 246.
Derek Warwick
Yes.
is cooler and a better driver than Senna. Discuss.
I might have dropped a few questions into the audience. I want to just see his face, that's all. Did you see his face? I think he's just dropped an O-ring. Give us an answer then, Manish.
Ring stinger.
I think he's a wonderful guy. He is a wonderful guy. He's done so much. I think if you're really alluding to the fact that he lost his real chance in Formula One because of Senna, he looks.
No, I wasn't at all. I just wanted to wind him up. He knows something else we don't know. Go on.
No, I think Derek Warwick today views the fact that Senna vetoed him at Lotus as kind of the highest form of flattery. It probably did kill Derek's career, but I think if both of them had been at Lotus at the same time, I think Senna would have put him away. That's first thing. He was considered. I mean, some people considered him in that kind of Mansell league.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he is.
I think they did. And I think, but I think what would have happened, I think the Lotus would have been absolutely useless that year if they had to split. In fact, who's the Canadian journalist? Donaldson. He wrote a really great article about why Lotus lost its way. And without being too nerdy about it, basically, Frank waited until he got free engines. That's what he did. You know, Bernie did an amazing deal with BMW, effectively got free engines. He said there was something about Colin Chapman. Colin Chapman had a real problem, as you can imagine, coming second at anything, and he paid for those Renault engines. And that effectively turned Lotus into a walking bankrupt team. It was just begging, borrowing, and scrimping. And they really couldn't run two number one cars. And I don't think you could have someone as good as Derek Warwick with Senna as equal number ones in a team that just did not have the money. That's the actual.
Sounds a bit familiar with the last week, doesn't it?
You know, well, you know, so I think, you know, was he cooler? I definitely don't think so. Was he quicker? Absolutely not. I don't think he'd say so. But did he, you know, have his career ended by Senna doing that? I think it's probably a good argument that he did, actually.
He made Turing class.
He did completely. And he's just the best human being as well.
He also got me out of a pickle once. I I had agreed to go to the Middle Eastern, I think it was Middle Eastern, GP Masters race. Well, they had two, they did one in Kyalami, and they did one, so I think it was Qatar or something like
Qatar,
that.
yeah.
And I'd agreed to go, and then my best mate phoned up and said, "That's my stag do, are you coming?" I was like, oh shit, here we go. But I'd sold it 4 times, the story, the race report. So what I did was, I told everyone I was going, but that I wouldn't be very visible at the race. I went on the stag do in Bristol, and I got hold of Derek Warwick and said, "Can I phone you up and get a full race report off you?" And bless him, he went, "Yeah, no worries at all." So I wrote 4 stories, shit-faced, from the Rodney Hotel in Clifton in Bristol, and I never went to the race. It was brilliant. I earned about £3,000. It was easy in those days. Next question. This gentleman here.
So it's not a question, it's an apology to Chris Cooper. I'm a Nissan salesman, as I'm sure you're aware, with a new registration month this month.
Yes.
And I have quite a lot of Nissan Dukes added to the network this month, I'm afraid.
So if you heard about that, as a Nissan salesman apologising to Chris Cooper for there being more Nissan Dukes on the road this quarter.
This is a cross I can't help you bear.
Right, next one. Gentleman here.
So you're a fighter pilot in the 1940s, well, late 40s, early 50s. What car would you want to drive around and when
Oh, that's a good one. Fighter pilot in the late 40s.
early 50s?
Early 50s.
There's only one.
Can only
What
be.
car do you drive around in?
It's got to be an XK120.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you?
A Bristol.
Oh.
The only one that's named after the plane I was flying 8 years before.
Okay.
So a Bristol 405. Yeah.
He's got one of
You've
them
been
as well.
shot down
No, I
in
haven't.
Bristol, but yes.
Yeah. Manish?
Actually, maybe if I could get hold of it, the only Ferrari Auto Avio ever made. That would be a beautiful car to have. 1947, wasn't that?
I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Pretty burgundy.
Okay, I'd
burgundy
go.
thing.
I'd want something exotic like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think
You'd be laughed out of the mess, though, wouldn't you?
Of course, yeah.
They'd be wiping substances on the rim of your cup when you weren't there, wouldn't they? Yeah, if you drove a Ferrari, fair enough. Next question. This gentleman here. Yes.
You touched on it a bit, Neil, with COVID and obviously being stuck inside. When you can't go out and drive, what are the things you guys do to kind of indulge your love of cars? Like, how do you kind of...
When you can't get out and drive, good question.
That's a good one.
Like COVID, what do you guys do to indulge your love of cars? The answer in COVID was just drive really fast. And then when you got stopped by the police, just go, "I didn't realise you couldn't drive." I used to do that on a nightly basis, sorry. Yeah, go on.
And drink whiskey and do videos in the back. We all watched the Whiskey Files.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we did.
Do you know what? I don't remember recording one of them.
Yeah.
But that's another part of my life. Are they? You're
still there.
joking? Fuck me, that was bad.
They were good.
There's a therapist driving around in an 812 now on the back of that. I often wonder how we lived before YouTube,
Yeah.
because we can bemoan the internet and we can blame it for all sorts of things, rightly so. But when I was young, he says, sounding really old, you had car magazines and anecdotal stories. That's really all you had, or books. But I didn't have any books, and no one in my family liked cars apart from my mother, and she was really forbidden to talk about them. So there was nothing. Now, if I think to myself, I'm feeling a bit Jackie X at Spa, I can go and watch it. If I'm feeling a bit, I want to watch Senna with unlimited boost around long Brands Hatch and think, motherfucker, I can watch that.
Yeah.
So I love it. I think YouTube is a big part of it for me.
It is.
I think reading, I think just communicating with people. Our little WhatsApp group is therapy for us, by the way. We want it to become a commercial activity in some way, but we're all a bit busy and doing our thing. But actually, having a group of friends that you communicate with regularly about a passion.
Can I just say,
It's the same
very
thing.
first WhatsApp on the WhatsApp group was you, and it said, "Listen, guys, we're all really busy, so can we not turn this into any kind of chat?"
You did try that.
I remember that.
I didn't
Do
go.
as I say.
That was
Do
never
as I
gonna work.
say.
I'm
Don't
like,
do
you
as I do.
miserable bastard.
I all thought I was just starting to enjoy this.
That lasted 4 seconds.
Yeah, it did. So those are my things. What about you?
I I think YouTube is great. If I can't drive, I'll go and watch videos of me on YouTube, reminding myself when I was fast and not crashing.
Ring the bell.
Actually,
He's not said anything, just ring that bell.
I quite like cleaning cars. I don't know if that's I quite like.
I bet a lot of people here like cleaning cars. Put your hands up if you like cleaning cars. You see,
Yeah.
it's a
It's
popular
good.
pastime.
It's
really
good.
don't like.
Oh, I do.
It's a popular pastime, that.
Yeah.
They live among us, like estate agents and pederasts. What would you do?
Well, what I do, I
So if you can't go out and drive?
I look at cars for sale.
Yes.
I pretty much know every car for sale because I just scan. Again, I have a witness in the back with the blonde hair. I scan Piston Heads, Auto Trader, Collecting Cars, Car and Classic. Like,
Fisher Performance.
I know most cars for sale and the price. So that's a little bit random.
That was the best thing about collecting cars, by the way, was that you could say, what would the last one sell for?
Yeah.
It was great.
That's the price.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, so that's a bit Rain Man. I do that. I do. What else do I do? Oh, I charge up flat batteries.
Other people's or just your own?
No, I've got like this whole sort of C-Tech thing. I should be sponsored by C-Tech. Actually.
You should be.
Although I've moved to Ring now. I'm testing the Ring. The Ring thing. The battery conditioner, the little box one.
I'm moving to Ring.
Yeah, not
Do you
his
know?
ring.
Do you know the thing about not putting batteries on a concrete floor?
No.
Do we all
Oh,
know
go
that?
on. This is new.
Does anyone know this? Hands up, knows. Keith on our farm, who's our Caleb, or Caleb being Keith on Clarkson's farm.
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
He said you can't put a battery. If you put a battery on a concrete surface, it does something un-battery-like to it. Is he winding me
Why
up?
don't you Google that, Finn? Afterwards, we'll get an answer for
My
that.
batteries are normally in my car as opposed
Yeah.
to on a concrete floor. Though.
Okay.
Do you
so
mean storing a new one? Okay.
Taking because one of my garages has got a concrete floor. He said put some cardboard on it before you put the battery on it. Talk amongst yourself. We'll check it out and come back to you.
Keith at the moment's on point number 4 going, you won't believe what he's
What
thrown
I've
this
got
week."
him to do.
I gave him the one about the concrete floor, mug.
YouTube is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Car magazines are now for the bog, really, aren't they? And
They always were.
They always were, actually. I don't read.
Just have a features meeting at Haymarket, sit there, sorry to interrupt, and
Yeah.
they'd say, we'd have an argument about what was the ideal length for a car magazine feature, and they were all wrong. I got one of my many written warnings for saying this in the meeting, which was I said, just take the average length of the male shit, and that is how long a car magazine article should be, because that's where it gets read. I was told,
45 minutes?
yeah.
They should
Oh,
put
so-
bog roll at the back.
Yeah.
They did. It was called the bog roll. That's what it was called.
No, but if
That's
they
what it was
did,
for.
you'd
it's
pay
a
an extra
win-win.
quid for that, wouldn't you?
It was it's inappropriate letter. Manish, what do you do?
I love reading auto courses, old
Yeah.
ones. That's my absolute glass of whiskey, last thing in the evening, sit by somewhere really warm and read about an old race. that
Who's the
you-
favourite driver you would like to read about in auto course?
What is auto course thing? What is
How
that?
long has it been
They're
going?
It's
annuals.
been going as long as
Are
Formula
they?
One.
It's like the cricket thing, but it's
75
Basically like
They're a
wisdom.
bit like it's good comparison.
Is it?
Wisdom.
Wisdom with pictures.
Wisdom for
it
F1.
still
yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really
is it?
good.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's, I mean, what I love doing is you don't watch the race, you try to read about a race that you think you remember.
Yes.
It's a little challenge. As you get older, to be honest, the gap between what you remember and the facts just grow and grow and grow. And but it's a really beautiful way because I remember writing that was so evocative, so sort of beautiful. And the lovely thing about auto course is you live the weekend. So it's not just reading or watching the race. You know, they have sections on this is what happened in the press conferences.
Right,
These were
nice.
the things that were happening behind the scenes. Frank was running around trying to get hold. Rumours are that he was talking to someone at Honda. And it's all in real time. It's the most amazing, amazing thing to read.
good.
And and
Loads of them available on eBay.
yes,
They're on
exactly.
eBay.
That was my childhood.
Yeah.
And it's,
Right.
it's a more and more precious thing actually as each year goes
Are there any pictures?
Oh,
Loads
the
of pictures.
photography was
Brilliant
What it
pictures,
was
yeah.
about in those days.
Remember the
Okay.
Mulberry yearbooks as well? They were good, weren't they?
Mulberry yearbook's amazing. Yeah,
Mulberry
absolutely.
yearbook. Oh, there's a lot more sort of tits and arse in that, really. But
There were certainly Marlborough girls.
Yeah, a bit
There were
more
certainly
tail.
Marlborough girls.
Right, so that was a long answer. Let's go to the gentleman at the back who's got far too much hair, you bastard.
Let's say you work hypothetically, for example, on the BBC Two Car Show, and you get the opportunity to make a 15-minute film of your favourite ever competition car. You did my favourite, possibly my favourite one we've ever done on L555 Bat, which is Common Craze 95 Impressor. Would you still do the same, and what would Manish, Neil and Chris do as there?
Management last, you can go first, Chris Cooper.
It would probably be a 917.
Yeah.
Just there might be one.
Which of the three I've driven would you drive?
There you go, look at that picture there.
Yeah, the one that actually lives down the road from me at home that my golf sponsorship was done with, the Steve McQueen one, which when I had that photograph done in 2002, the people who were looking after it said it was like a bit like here, a lovely place. And the guy looking after it said, "Would you like to drive the Golf 917?" And I tried getting into it, and I thought I'm not going to fit, so I said, "No, I won't bother, thanks." If I could turn back time, I'd do that.
That was a really bad decision.
That was a bad decision.
They're good. Neil Clifford.
I would go back to 1966 and go to the Targa Florio. There's a lovely book, which Chris knows the book, 10 Days in Sicily. I just reenacted it actually with my mate Stag Do. We went to Sicily. I would recommend everyone do it. You fly Ryanair, 7 in the morning out of Stansted. It's 100 quid. You rent a Fiat Panda for 100 euros for 2 days. You stay in Cefalù, which is just by the start, Serda, where the start of the race is. The pits are still there. And you go and drive the 78-kilometre circuit, little towns, 5 little towns, stop for ice cream and coffee. You can actually do it in a day and go back to Palermo and fly home that night. And I just did it last weekend, and it's magical. Everything's still a euro. It's like going back to the 80s. And I think the car that won it in 66 was a Porsche 908. So I'd take that with me.
Berg Spider. What would you do, Manish? Get that bell ready.
I think there is only one car for me.
Yeah.
No, I think I'd love to do 15-minute film. I might do it actually. I do.
Should we do
this
it?
for a
We'll do
living.
one.
We should do it. It's the MP44 from 1988.
Who drove
It's
it?
just Alain Prost. And
Very
it was
good.
Exactly. No, it's just such a brilliant car because they really didn't know. Neil Oatley, wonderful human being who I really believe was the brains behind the car.
Despite what Steve Nichols says.
Controversial.
Yeah, I think Stevie Nichols and Neil Oatley, I mean, they really put together something very special, but they finished that car 5 minutes before the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it really had not tested. It had a brand new Honda engine in the back. Senna knew the engine, but no one else did.
Thank you.
But that car just worked out of the box, and it didn't just work out of the box. It set a record that that stood until I think was it Mercedes in I can't remember which year.
20.
They actually managed. Yeah, no, it was before.
Or 19.
18?
Yeah, I think it might have been 18 actually. It was the first time somebody won more than 15 in a season. It was extraordinary. It's an extraordinary.
I've been lucky
car.
enough to sort of do this before, and I won't give you. I'll give you a couple of examples. That one was flawed for me. It was a great film. I loved it. It was very difficult, the studio bit, because we had the McRae family there, and they all started crying. And then I'm not a great crier, but I started blubbing, so we had to re-record it 3 times. You struggle with it if it's a posthumous test drive, because you want the person, the man or the woman who drove it, to be there with you, telling you what it was like to drive it. So it can make more powerful television because you have to imagine sort of vicariously what it was like for Colin. But Jimmy was there driving it. In fact, I have to thank the Tuthill family for this, because the BBC said the car's available to be used, but they won't let anyone else drive it. So Jimmy's got to drive it, and the BBC went, "We sort of need our chimp to drive it, otherwise it's not really a film." And Jimmy went, "Well, it's, you know, we own it. We think it's." They had it valued at 700 grand. I'm like, "You've got that wrong. You might put another naught on that or whatever." So I think our generation, that really is the car. And Jimmy didn't know who I was from Adam, really. He knew my name. He just thought I was a Burke off the telly. He wasn't wrong. But he phoned the only person he knew vaguely in that world, a guy called Francis Tuthill, who's Richard's dad, and they're mates. And he went, "Fran, should I let this bloke drive my car?" And Fran went, "Oh, yeah, he's excellent. A really good friend of ours. Of course, yes." And that's how I got to drive the car. It was through the Tuthills, nothing to do with the BBC. But I wanted to tell the story. I wanted to hear Colin's voice. So I want to do it with someone who is alive to tell me the story. So I'd probably go Dickie Atwood 917.
Yeah.
I think something like that, because I want it to come from an era where we're left slack-jawed at the heroism and the bravery. And I believe all racing drivers are gladiators, but I think there's something about that era when they dealt with appalling percentages of risk that I find more captivating. So, Jackie and one of those crazy Tyrrells, I think I'd love to do as well.
Yeah.
So,
One thing I have to say about the ultra-wide back film is it's not flawed as a viewer, because when I sat there with my wife and watched it, she never quite got why I was going out to the forest with my dad to just go and stand in the, wait for cars to come past us. My obsession with Colin McRae is my favourite person of all time, etc., etc. And she kind of sat there, and I remember sat there just saying to me, I think I get it now. And she wouldn't have seen that otherwise, because as soon as I got usually much slower, I'd go to bed. So she sat on top gear with me, and she got it. So I think for me that was really cool.
Happy punter. Thank you very much.
Well done.
It was, I think those are some of the most powerful car films, and it was. I regretted the BBC wouldn't commission more of them, but that's another story. Let's do a couple more questions. Who have we got? Gentleman back here.
I'd really like to know if Chris Cooper's ever driven at the Nürburgring or driven a Cayman.
You can fuck off. Sincerely.
That's the end of the deliberately dropped questions. Any more? This gentleman here.
Team Chris Harris and friends have been awarded the 12th entry into Formula One.
Oh.
What are your senior roles within the team, and who are your title sponsor?
Oh, this is really good. Really, really good. So, I'm going to start off with the title sponsor. When I was filming in Switzerland last year, two of the crew were laughing out loud at something they'd seen on the internet, which was from a company called BYD.
Oh my God, yes.
Now, I thought this was brilliant. You must have seen this story. So, BYD, the Chinese car company, was sponsoring some football competition, weren't they? European Cup, or was it?
Euros.
The Euros. And but there was a German company that made sex toys called Build Your Dildo who had to put a press statement out saying, "Please stop searching BYD.E. Our servers crashed and we can't do any business." So we're being sponsored by BYD because we can cover electric cars and sex toys in one simple message. So I've done the title sponsor. Now you can do roles.
Oh, I was choosing the sponsor.
Okay. Who's sponsor?
I would use it to bring Jaguar back.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd relaunch Jaguar in Formula
Do you remember
One.
the cat is back?
Yes.
But the cat really just sort of sat in the corner and shat in the litter tray for a few years, and then it got put down.
No, I would use it to maybe have a slightly different strategy with Jaguar.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we wouldn't have a
Would
pink
you?
and a blue car.
Okay, who's team principal?
I'm not. I'm creative director.
Okay, you're creative director. So you're turning up looking wacky and having ideas.
I'm doing the pictures, the images.
Are you getting the lad from Saltburn to sit in the car in Paris with a diesel generator?
I'm in charge of colours, photography, film, all of that.
Okay.
Magazines.
What are you?
If Brad Pitt can be a bloody driver, fuck it, I'm driving it.
Right. So we've got a driver. We've basically got. It's got to be modern era because it needs to be that big for him to get in it. He's so long.
Yeah.
What Manish? What are you?
I think I could raise the money actually.
Oh yes, you
I
could.
think
Yeah.
I probably could.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be. I'd be cheap.
I've watched you with your nose up several behinds trying to get money to film, and you are a smooth operator.
Yeah.
You relieve them.
Well, there's no way I'm team principal.
I think you are.
Because
Yeah.
I think you are.
no, it's not that we would be in major trouble from about race 4. I think.
Technical director then, aren't you?
I think you'd be Fred. You're Fred Vasseur. You're about the same shape and size.
Do you know? I don't know what I could do in a Formula 1 team. I've raced. Whenever I've raced in teams that are quite professional, I've looked around and thought, "There's nothing I add here at all. There's absolutely nothing I add here." So no, I've got no answer. We don't have a team principal. We'll recruit, and you guys are first on the list.
Can I answer actually for you? You are a really good motivator. I mean, I've raced with Chris a lot, and I think the thing we were talking about it earlier on when Flavio Briatore came back. I don't think you're like Flav, but what Flav's done, I think you could do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You bring.
Oh yeah,
you
Mr.
in the
Motivator.
garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be bloody irritating.
But is he
But
team
actually-
principal, Flav, now?
He's kind of like consultant
big, just
motivator.
yeah. You could
Chief
do that.
motivator.
Yeah.
That's what you
I like that. Motivator. Get it? There's a pun and everything.
Teach me how to drive. that'd be
Right,
good.
gentlemen. You've already asked one. Sorry.
Would Rich Energy be one of your primary sponsors?
Rich Energy. Tell you a story about him. So I'm at the Isle of Man TT, not last summer, summer before, and I'm in that sort of hospitality, one bit of hospitality they've got right by the pit lane, and McGuinness has dragged me in there. McGuinness is involved with every bit of trouble that you ever lived with, and I've seen the bearded wonder out and about. He's there. And I'm a few Guinnesses down. I'm thinking that what I don't want to do is bump into this guy really, because he's bigger than you think as well. I'm quite wide, but he's quite a unit. I think if he slapped you, it would hurt. So, our last exchange on the internet was something like "fuck off and die." So I was like, okay, I don't want to see you. Anyhow, 2 minutes later, this lad's come up to me and gone, "Good to see you in the flesh, Chris," like that. Stuck his hand out. McGuinness is grinning over there. He's gone over and gone, "Oh, Harris wants to talk to you." Anyhow, I wish him the very best of luck, but I have no idea what goes on there at all. But put it this way, the world would be a lot more boring if he wasn't around. I'll give him that. He's got the gift of the spotlight. I'll give him that. And he's got a mighty handshake as well. Yes, sir. Yes, you, yes.
A common theme on the podcast is I wish I never sold that car.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
then you buy it back again. What is a common car today you would buy and garage to sell in 20 years' time?
F12s. Most of them.
I'd buy a shed full of Lard and Nevers, because I reckon you'll all be speaking Russian in 20 years' time. And I'd call them the Vlads, and I'd say I always loved him. Great lad. Remember when Lewis kissed him on the podium? That's a good one. Go back and Google that. Lewis kisses Putin on podium. Odd moments in our history. What would you buy?
I'd buy a shed full of those for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah, the Donald. What would I buy?
996.
Yeah, there's a T-shirt coming out with that. So yeah, I think we will, our generation, if I can speak for us as a community, you're either buying your old shit that we all love that we know is a bit unreliable or stupid. But I think if I started a used car business now, I'd call it 2010 to 2018. I'd call the business 2010 to 2018, because I think those are the cars that I love. So anything within that window, 997 GT3 RS, the 991s, the M cars, the AMGs, basically the majority of Germany's greatest hits
Yeah.
from 10 to 18. I think you might look back and go, whoa, they're a bit special.
And maybe the end kind of Luca cars as well.
Yeah, the Luca cars, apart from the four seat one.
What's it?
That one, yeah.
Just replace 6 with 8 and you're all right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
When the AA collects you and you say 4, 5, 6, there's they all start ticking and going, oh shit, one of those again.
Just wait. I'm getting it back on Tuesday. I have a good feeling about this.
Will you come
with
automotive
me?
aids, that thing is. Right. We've got one more question. I think we're done, aren't we? No, there's a hand there. It was more of a karate chop than a hand. That was.
You're going on a stag do later this year where you go to the Pyrenees, Angoulême and Paris for a week. You've got 30 grand, you want a bit of power, you want a bit of post car, what do you buy?
Right. I'm gonna answer this first because this is freakish. So I've done the Alps to Angoulême and back up to Calais in a holiday about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And the car I had two of my offspring with me. And we did it in a car that's in that window. We did it in a car he had as well. It was a weird one. It was the normally aspirated M156 E63 Estate.
Yeah.
No, we did it in that. And do you? Yeah, I had an estate one. We did it in that, and I loved it. And I'll tell you this afterwards. Near Angoulême, there's a chateau called the Chateau de Neuilly. I can't pronounce it. It's got loads of EU, I's and L's. And it's an amazing, absolutely amazing place. It's got fantastic restaurants, a great chateau near Angoulême. And of course, if you go in September, there's the race.
That's what we're going for.
Is it? Yeah. Well, there you go. Send me a note on Instagram and I'll share the info.
Where is Angoulême?
Southwest.
Of what?
France.
Oh, right.
Of what? Angoulême, they have it's a bit like Po. They have a historic race there. Well, it's proper, like people in Diracs, like drifting out towards shops. Some of the driving.
Down there, that way.
No, north of Carcassonne.
Right.
So Biarritz.
Okay, gotcha.
Actually, no more. Bordeaux, isn't it?
Bordeaux, yeah.
Bordeaux, yeah.
Could you get an Alpine for that, just about?
Not really.
How much?
No,
What's the budget?
Did you say
30 grand?
30?
Easy,
Not
mate.
even that long.
Easy. I've just told
I
that
think
story
so.
about them catching fire again. They're fucked.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, thanks for that.
It'd be a gorgeous car.
Yeah, the
to
dark
throw
blue
around
ones
the
are
world.
fine.
Yeah, it would be.
Black one.
Alpine, good idea. Now, what would you go in?
997. You can get a 997, can't
30,
you?
yeah.
Manual, 30, just. Yeah. C2S, shit colour, shit wheels, but it'll be fine.
I'd have how many people?
There's only one of you on the car.
Oh, I'd have a Boxster.
It's always the answer, really.
I now see the light.
It is.
It is the answer.
Yeah.
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 I'll throw another spanner in there. A car that I'm going to have to buy in the next year. I don't know why. M6 Grand Coupe.
Yeah.
I
think
love
that's good.
those. Every time I see one, I think I really want to
Yeah.
own one of them.
Yeah. Old Colonel.
Yeah.
.com.
How many's he
Yeah.
got? He's always got
Yeah.
9, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's now got onto that point now, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
25 grand. Yeah.
Are you tired of listening to us now? Any more? We could probably do one more question, can't we? Go on, boss.
Will we ever see a Harris versus Cooper track battle?
It's been done already. It's just boring.
We should
So
see that.
to be clear, for the majority of these clashes, I was the loser. But in the final year, the GT3 season, the data was so devastating. He hasn't raced since.
So in all seriousness, we're quite closely matched. We
That
are
would be
quite
good
closely
to
matched.
So normally we were perverse in that normally what happens is the person that doesn't have to pay for the repairs is braver and does more stupid things because they don't have to pay for the repairs. But when we raced, I didn't want to
Yeah,
crash it.
I hadn't read that memo.
So
No.
he owned the car, but he'd crash it and go faster. And he had bigger testicles in the fast stuff.
He was just trying to beat you, basically.
No, he was quicker than me.
Was he?
Yeah, at the Nürburgring he was. I mean, obviously, when it came to the 24-hour race, he'd get a tummy bug or have to go and have a sleep.
I was quite achy in the Tommy region.
Yeah, and it normally happened just when the light got shit or it was raining. So it's raining. Oh, that samosa was a bit dodgy. Harris, triple stint. Oh, great.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I probably will lose. Ring the bell. Thank you. How long? Good God, it's 6:30. You people must go home to your loved ones, or go and lurk on the streets and scare people. I want to say thank you very much for hosting us today. It's been really, really enjoyable. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Someone's got to buy that Alpina. That's in the contract. Someone's got to buy that Alpina convertible, okay?
Neil.
You really have. Yeah? One of you. Please keep listening and watching. We're going to make some merch at some point. Friendly's actually sponsoring our sort of a gilet, which we're not going to make because I think it looks like workwear. But we're going to come up with some designs and try and sell some tat that you might enjoy.
We should thank Finley in general, really.
Without Finn, this wouldn't happen, okay?
Yeah.
Neil and Isaac, thank you for recording it. All of the back of your heads are going to be really famous. And you can go a lot of you are going to realise that you're much bolder than you realise, which will be very interesting, especially the women. Is there anything I've forgotten?
Music.
Oh shit, music! I'm starting with this. On the way here, I listened to. If you're a certain age, Stereo MC's "Step It Up." Remember that as a tune?
Yeah.
What a tune that is!
Yeah.
Okay, and what are you going to go for?
Slade. Fucking Slade. I've got a Spotify playlist that's got 1,200 songs on it that I always listen to when I'm thinking about a random song. Far, Far Away, Slade. It always got me as a kid that it just gave me excitement about travel. So, and they're from up here, aren't they, somewhere? More Birmingham, I think, or Wolverhampton. But Far, Far Away, Slade.
Like it. Can you imagine if someone pulls up next to you in a beautiful Posy blue F12 and they wind the window down. He's playing Slade. Yeah, he's a mate of Glitter and Savile.
Yeah. it's a bit close, isn't it? Nobby's nuts.
Manish, this is the point at which you intellectually cleanse us. Come on, what's it going to... Don't.
No. I think it would be Eric Clapton, Layla.
Yeah.
I think that's what you
There you
listen
go.
to today.
Yeah, no.
Okay. 80 years old.
80 tomorrow.
Can I just say one final thank you to Tom and everybody at Fisher
Yes.
Performance hosting tonight, and thank you very much indeed. Droitwich Spa is my favourite spa. Over Woodall Spa, Boston Spa. What is the other spa?
Leamington Spa.
Exactly, yeah. Favourite spa.
Francorchamps Spa.
I was going to make that joke, and I thought, no, that'll be shit.
Turns out it was.
Bat Out of Hell, Meatloaf. I listened to it on the way up here.
Nice.
In the car. 11 minutes and 68 million hours of it. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.